get the reward on game day.
And, a 3-game losing streak isn't the end of the world, but where they're all NUMAC games, it does hurt in the context that you're talking about. You have the benefit of a career's worth of context to put it in. You've seen it all. You've seen long winning streaks, long losing streaks, and everything in between. Your players don't have that luxury. They've only been at the NCAA level for at most 4 years. So how are you able to keep what's happening in perspective for them so that they aren't looking at it tonight as, well, we have to save our season tonight, that regardless of if it's win or lose tonight, you can still go after the goals that you set out for back in October?
Yeah, I think we really talk about winning. I mean, I think we certainly say, hey, look, all these games count the same. And, but if you get caught up in the results, I think that can really cause you to play emotionally and poorly. I think you want to play with emotion and confidence and poise. But when you play emotionally, usually that's a bad recipe for success. And I think that you don't panic. You just go back and you work at the fundamentals. You show them film of the good and the bad and ugly at some points, and then you try and have a positive outlook about what you need to do today, because ultimately that's all we have control over. And so tonight it's just about our energy and our effort, and the ball's got to go through the hoop a little bit to keep up with them. But hopefully we're not giving up easy shots either. I don't think the ball went through the hoop. I think that human nature in today's world is such that when guys aren't making shots, sometimes their defensive effort gets impacted in a negative way, and I thought that was all part of it on Saturday. And we were down because Coast Guard took advantage of our mistakes, and they deserved to be up, and they deserved to win. I mean, they led wire to wire, and I just thought they wanted it a lot more, and that was disappointing to see.
And I'm just curious, for your perspective as a coach of a winter sport in this part of the country, year in, year out, there's always different weather-related things that happen or threaten to happen. I'm walking in here to interview you. I'm getting alerts from the National Weather Service on my phone, and everybody seems to be in hysterics that it's going to be cold in January. There's a lot of things that are getting postponed or rescheduled. Something like that must happen to you just about every year, where you don't know if a game's going to get snowed out on a Saturday, or travel's not going to be viable for an out-of-town opponent. So how do you factor that into how you prepare your team when you've got a wild variable like that you have no control over?
Fortunately this year we haven't really missed many practices because of the elements. It's funny because in 2015 when we went to the Final Four, we had 2 straight Tuesdays, before a Wednesday game, that we couldn't practice.
School's closed, you can't practice. Okay.
Yeah, and so, a situation where, we sent the workout to the players and sent them the scout report, and they kind of did it themselves. And, in some ways, you found out less was more, because, they reacted well, and it was actually good for them to have, maybe a less rigorous practice before the game, and probably save legs for the game on Saturday, So I think that, when I was growing up, it was always, you gotta grind, and no matter how many minutes you played last night, you gotta go put your 2 hours in, and and I think it's a situation now with advanced training and things that it's different, and some of these guys are in tip-top shape year-round because of the advances in physical training. I mean, we're fortunate we have a full-time strength coach in Joel St. Cyr, and he's got a full-time assistant and another part-time assistant and volunteers and interns. So, we're really lucky that we have professionals who help our guys year-round be in the best shape they can be. So, I think that it's one of those things where, we live in the Northeast. It's going to snow in January. It's going to be really cold when we all walk out of here tonight, and we're hoping that affects MIT shooting.
Well put. All right, we'll let you get down with your team. Best of luck out on the floor tonight.
All right, thanks so much.
All right, that was Stephen Brennan, the rare pregame interview that was timely enough to get the whole thing in pregame. We'll also try to get that in for you at halftime in case you missed any of it, but we're getting you ready for a classic rivalry here in the NUMAC. The MIT Engineers, an Elite 8 team a year ago, ranked number 7 in the country, taking on a Babson Beaver squad 2 years removed from a national championship. So some high-level basketball, some high-level coaching tonight between Stephen Brennan and also for Larry Anderson, the head coach of MIT, 2 coaches that combined have won over 700 games in tandem. And so this one promises to be good. Again, as I mentioned, MIT returning the nucleus of a group that was one of the only 2 teams to beat the national champion Babson College Beavers in 2017. They beat them in the NUMAC championship game. So interesting piece of trivia there. Babson won the national championship, but not the NUMAC tournament in the year 2017. They actually entered that tournament as an at-large bid. So something to chew on there. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in just over a minute's time to get you the starting lineups and also get you set for live play-by-play here tonight between the Engineers and the Beavers. Hopefully at some point Matthew Droney will go over to the side of the court he's supposed to be on tonight, but more on that when we come back. You're watching Babson Basketball on BabsonAthletics.com. All right, welcome back here to BabsonAthletics.com as they're getting set to introduce the starting lineups across the way. We'll also have the national anthem in just a moment, so we'll listen in for the anthem, and then I'll give you the starters, and then on the other side of that, we'll be ready to tip things off here in this big NUMAC matchup as Babson comes into tonight's action 2 games out of first place, trailing these very Engineers. So a large one here tonight in the Stockey Gymnasium. We're just waiting on that buzzer. And there it is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Stockey Gymnasium for today's men's basketball contest between the visiting MIT Engineers and your host, Babson College Beavers. At this time, we ask that you please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
All right, so they will introduce the starters across the way. I've got those for you as well. A lot of familiar names if you've been watching these games for a while. Over on the MIT side, number 4, A.J. Jerko. Number 5, Bradley Jomard. Number 10, Tim Roberts. Number 21, Hamilton Forsyth. And number 25, Ian Hinckley. These guys can score. They're averaging north of 85 points per game, 85.6 to be precise, so averaging over 2 points a minute, contrasted with Babson's 76.3. Babson will start. Number 2, Julian Alexis. Number 5, Shai Ulrichsen. Number 13, Brandon Johnson. Number 21, Andrew Jaworski. And number 30, Frank Ofdring. Beavers are coached by Stephen Brennan in his 23rd season at the helm, 397 career wins to 253 defeats. He's assisted by Andrew Habermale, Dorian Bryant, and David Lang. The athletic trainer is Kara Gustafson. Over on the MIT side, Larry Anderson, the head coach, you knew that in his 24th season, 346 wins to 233 defeats. The associate head coach is Rob DiBernardo. And then the assistant's a name you may recognize, Matthew Droney, national champion 2017 graduate of Babson College, who played in 2 Final Fours and 3 NCAA tournaments for the Babson Beavers. Over on the wrong side of things tonight, the other assistants are Larry Farmer, David Kropnik, John Sanchez, and Indran Ratnathikamp. Your officials for tonight's game are Jim Grady, James Slattery, and Lee Morelli, a veteran Division III officiating crew. And Matthew Droney was a hot commodity pregame. Everybody was looking to talk to him. And I don't think it's a coincidence that some of his former teammates are in the house here tonight to see this game. Joey Flannery's not here. Of course, he's a little tied up on the bench with Villanova. But Nick Comenall and Chris Lowry both in the house tonight, enjoying the sights and the scenes, and I'm sure they'll be goofing on Matt Droney for coaching on the MIT side of things tonight. More on that if and when it develops. In the meantime, we've got a basketball game to play. Brandon Johnson lines up for the tip-off against Tim Roberts of MIT. Tip controlled by the Beavers, and we're underway. Babson wearing their home whites, moving from right to left on your screen. MIT wearing their classic road cranberry, going from left to right. Johnson out on the wing, steps inside, good. Bounce pass through, extra pass over to Ulrichsen, who drives the lane, kicks out. Johnson grabs it from in front of the bench, tosses up a 3, knocks it down. Beavers going to have to score tonight. You figure you're going to need at least 70 to have a chance to win this thing against an MIT squad that scores and scores and scores some more, and that's one of the biggest reasons why right there. Bradley Jomard, the senior out of Paris, France, scoring his first 2 points of the contest. He's averaging 18.2 per game. They've got 5 players averaging in double figures so far on the season. Jomard bounces it forward for Forsyth, who returns. Jomard hands off for Hinckley, who throws it inside and back out. Jomard to the baseline dribble drive, gives it up to the block, scored by Forsyth. Forsyth, the sophomore out of Weston, Connecticut. And he puts the Engineers in front for the first time at 4-3. Tip pass taken away by Jomard. Hinckley got a hand on it, and here come the Engineers. Shoveled back, pull up 3 by Jerko is good. A.J. Jerko, the senior out of Weston, Florida, connects. 3 different players have scored field goals already for this very efficient MIT offense. And they've got the lead by 4 at 7-3. And you can hear theirs is a noisy bench. Alexis to the drive, throws up a lob, can't get the bounce, but he does get fouled, and therefore will head to the free throw line. Fouls on Hinckley, so that'll be his first, obviously. Alexis' first free throw is good. He's an 81% free throw shooter coming into tonight, with that make now 35 for 43 on the season. A junior out of Somerville, New Jersey. Played high school ball in Immaculata and prep at Wilbraham and Monson. So he connects on both. And it's a 2-point game now, 7-5, with 18:05 remaining in the first half as Jomard and the Engineers go back to work. Be a good band name, don't you think? Bradley and the Engineers, I think, would probably be a better name. You should go with that after graduation. High lob pass inside, saved in play, and they call that out of bounds on Tim Roberts. I thought he'd get the ball out of his hands before he hit, but it's not my call to make, of course, and now the Beavers will get an opportunity to tie or take the lead with 17:45 left to go. Now, this is kind of a novelty tonight. First time in a very long time that you'd call the Beavers an underdog in a game they're playing at home. Probably have to go back to when they knocked off WPI a few years back, when WPI was number 3 in the country. Straight on 3 by Frank Oftring is no good, but Johnson rips it away, goes up and scores. Brandon Johnson with 5 early, and the Beavers have it tied at 7. We might just be in for another great installment of this rivalry. Of course, these teams met just a couple of weeks back on January the 19th. It went overtime. Engineers won at 94-90. Three-pointer up and good. Great-looking shot there by Forsythe. He's got 5, and MIT is in front by 3 at 10-7. Johnson around to the wing. 3-ball up by Jaworski. No good. Rising for the rebound, Tim Roberts. MIT advances. Quick release on the 3. No good off the front rim, but an offensive rebound. Salvage possession as the Engineers keep it going. Jomard kicks left. There was Forsythe that missed on the 3. Entry pass got between Ulrichson's knees. He comes up with a steal. Jaworski enters to Oftring. Oftring, right hand, baby hook is up and good. And Frank Oftring, the junior out of Bishop Feehan, checks in for the first time. Beavers within 1 at 10-9. Jomard's got his left thumb and wrist all taped up, as you can see there. Sends it around the perimeter for Yurko, who connected on an early 3. Gives it up for Roberts. Jomard plants his feet, shoots, and scores. Elite shooting on this MIT squad, extremely hard to defend. And they are out of the box here tonight. 13 points in the game's first 4 minutes. Doing what they do. Beavers trying to keep pace. Oftring muscles his way in, draws a foul, and will get himself to the free throw line. Going to be important to have a few takes like that here this evening. Foul is on Forsythe. It's his first. Sends Oftring to the free throw line, shooting 2. He's a 77% free throw shooter on the season, 26 for 34. And nails the first one down the middle. Bigger crowd in the building tonight than you've had for games recently. Of course, a lot of them have been over the break, as Oftring's able to make both. But the entire Babson men's lacrosse team is seated here tonight. Some head coaches of other teams on campus. Saw John Anderson from men's soccer, Matt Noon from baseball in the crowd. They know when a good game's being played on campus, and they generally don't miss them. Jomard to the dribble drive near the end line, but stays in bounds, spins, shoots, scores. Up over Andrew Jaworski. You don't see that kind of skill often at this level, but you will tonight. And MIT's got the lead up to 4 at 15-11. Just under 5 minutes in. Oftring draws 2 defenders. Might have gotten away with an extra step there. His pass was deflected. Beavers hang on to possession with 16 to shoot. Ulrichson, a high lob caught by Johnson. Johnson, great entry pass to Frank Oftring, left all alone for 2. Great dime dished out there by Johnson. 6 early points for Oftring, and the Beavers hanging in. Every defensive stop they can get tonight will be worth its weight in gold. Yurko up top for Hinckley. Hinckley gets it back. Spins, kicks out to the wing for Forsythe. Up top to Jomard. Jomard's got himself a screen, steps inside, goes under like he does, throw stolen away by Ulrichson. And the Beavers will get a chance to tie or take the lead. Shy to the drive, lays it up, switches to the left hand, no good. Jaworski got his hands on the rebound and got fouled. We'll see if they give him the benefit of the doubt of putting him to the free throw line here, which would be a big break for the Beavers, as it didn't look like he was going up with a shot. Nevertheless, they let him march there. It's also the second foul on Hinckley here early. And so Jaworski goes to the stripe. He's an 80% free throw shooter, 37 for 46. And he's true on that one. Free throw shooting absolutely imperative here tonight for the Beavers, who are already advantaged 3-0 in that column of the scoreboard. Jaworski trying to deliver the tie score. No good off the back iron. And so the Beavers miss out on a chance to flip it at 15 all. Yurko, good lob entry, but they're going to call an offensive foul for the push-off on Tim Roberts. Fouls are piling up on Larry Anderson's Engineers here, as that's already their fourth in just under 6 minutes of play. And if they're not careful, Babson could be getting fat from the free throw line here in this first half. Brandon Johnson comes out, gets a nice round of applause from Stephen Brennan for his efforts. He's replaced by Jack Coulahan, a junior guard out of Newtown, PA, and Holy Ghost Prep. Ulrichsen steps, delivers in front of him. Good pivot there by Jaworski. Gets a tough shot up, no good. Didn't really have a look at the basket. Rebound by Forsythe. Jomard backs it up from the free throw line. Hits Ulrichsen in the back, but Roberts catches it. Tipped now by Oftring. Funky possession here for MIT, but they've still got the ball. Yurko kicks out. Jomard plants his feet, misses a little too strong off the front rim, and Shai chases down the rebound. Up ahead to Alexis. Alexis stops, starts, bursts through the lane, gets it off the window and in, and the Beavers take the lead at 16-15. Ball up top here for Yurko, poked out by Oftring, diving on the floor for it. Going after is Jaworski as well, but MIT comes away with the ball as Hinckley goes down to get it. Effort plays here early, right-hand float, misses short, but is tapped out. Chance to shoot for Forsythe, spits out. Oftring with the rebound. Secures it, gets it out to Ulrichsen, who's running 3-on-3 up the floor. Ulrichsen with a full head of steam, gets swatted from behind by Jomard. Having fun yet? Yurko up top and around for Jomard and into the corner. Forsythe bouncing to the right side. Here's Yurko. Spins, pivots, falls away, and hits. Beautiful shot there by Yurko. Excuse me, that's Yurko making that shot. Coulahan, bounce entry down low. Good pass, zip to the far side. Alexis for the knockdown three is good. Everybody pitching in for the Beavers here early, and they go back in front 19-17. Good entry pass, easy bucket there for Tim Roberts. Roberts on the board for the first time, a senior out of Oaks Bluffs, Mass, on Martha's Vineyard. That's Oak with no S, I know better. Jaworski lobs in for Oftring, gets a little bit of room, goes up with the right hand, but help defense punched it out. Speaking of punching it out, Hinckley does exactly that to get the ball into the safe hands of Yurko as the Engineers will try to break the tie. Straight on three, missed everything, and Yurko will hear about it from the Babson crowd. Beavers take the ball back with 11:32 to play in the first half. Matt Pattison and Colin Bradneys, numbers 23 and 31 respectively, into the contest for Babson. Coulahan finds a spot. He likes that shot. Little too much on that. Rebound Yurko. This has got a postseason feel to it already. So we get a foul on the floor prior to the shot. And they will call that foul on Matt Pattison, his first. Now, a lot of times the ref puts up his fingers. He puts up the 2 on one hand, the 3 on the other hand. I always have trouble wondering, are they calling that foul on 23 or 32? When it's Babson, you don't have that problem. Nobody's ever going to wear 32 here again. Straight on three-pointer. And this is a little bit short. Rebound secured by Bradneys off the miss by Forsythe. Ulrichsen shifts. Coulahan looks inside. Bounds it down for Jaworski. Kicked up to the backside. Pattison slips through traffic. Right-hander somehow finds its way down. That one went up a mile, and it rained on the way down. Pattison's first points. MIT makes the extra pass. Beautiful wide open look for Forsythe, and that's just too easy. Jack Houlihan was late on the switch, and Forsythe too good of a shooter to get those opportunities. So the Engineers jump back up by 1 at 22-21. Ulrichsen looking inside. Pattison had position, doesn't get the ball. Houlihan receives, takes Jomard off the dribble, switches to his right hand, Wild off the glass, but gets his own miss and kicks it out to Jaworski. Jaworski races through the lane, right hand float, no good. Bradley's got a piece of it, but couldn't put it back, and Jomard cleans the glass for MIT. High lob pass, a beauty, swatted from behind by Ulrichsen as he snuck in from underneath Roberts to swat it away. Brandon Johnson back onto the floor. Jaworski goes to the bench. 9:55 to play first half. And we've got a timeout on the floor, the first of its kind. 9:55 to play in the first half. We'll take a quick break and come right back. You're watching Babson Basketball on BabsonAthletics.com. Lively Jim at the Stocky here tonight, and it figures to get livelier if this one can stay close. Babson trailing right now by the slimmest of margins to MIT, 22-21, with 9:55 to go in the first half. Tim Roberts will trigger the inbound. We'll see where he goes with it. So he puts the ball in play to Dakota Pierce into the game for the first time. Another senior on what's a team full of them. For MIT, pass batted away by Pattison off Jomard's hand. Pattison able to make the catch on the way by. Good defense here early by Babson. Sounds crazy given that they've given up so many points, but they're playing against one of the best offenses in the country. Bradneys can't get it to go, but Jomard fumbles the rebound from the baseline. That's a no-no. Beavers get a second chance at it here with 17 seconds remaining on the shot clock. James Welch comes racing in to give Ulrichsen a blow. Lob pass comes out for Johnson. Johnson tried to return, got tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Dakota Pierce, a senior out of Thousand Oaks, California, and Thousand Oaks High. Second inbound to the possession for Babson, this time with 14 left. They bring it into Bradneys. Now here's Welch. Houlihan gets it over to Johnson, who's the only starter on the floor right now. He rises, a little too strong with the right hand, but Colin Bradneys there for the finish. A first year out of Billerica, Mass, and Central Catholic gives Babson the lead back at 23-22 with 9:05 to go first half. Pull-up three by Yurko, no good, but we've got a foul during the rebounding effort away from the ball. Bradneys got tangled up with Tim Roberts, and I think they called that one on Roberts. They did. It's his second. So Roberts has got two, and Hinckley's got two early. Hinckley on the bench with the two. And MIT's got only one foul left to give with 9 minutes to go in the half. Babson enjoying a 5-1 foul differential at the moment. Johnson enters to Bradneys, kicks back up top for Welch. Welch crosses over on Jomard, gets open, but puts a little too much on the shot. Saved in by Houlihan, but it'll bounce into the backcourt. Wow, not call a violation. MIT's bench is furious, and then they call a foul on MIT. Wow. Officials asleep at the switch. There should have been an automatic backcourt violation there. They let Johnson go back there. Everybody was anticipating the whistle. And not only does MIT not get the violation call, but also Yurko gets called for a foul. So even if they do have a make-up whistle here and they call a phantom travel, for instance, on Babson to right the wrong, it's still going to be the 6th foul on MIT, and Babson's still going to be in the bonus for the remaining 8:37 of the half. Officials trying to sort this out at the table. Perhaps working on the shot clock. 20 seconds to shoot for Babson. Welch will inbound it. And Babson better be on its P's and Q's here, because anything the folks in the stripes can call a foul or a travel or a double dribble, they will. Bounce entry for Pattison, and where are they calling this one? Did they call this foul on MIT too? Wow. They call it on Yurko. They call 2 fouls in 5 seconds on A.J. Yurko. And it's going to put Matt Pattison to the line in a 1-and-1. Pattison, a 71% free throw shooter on the season. And in some basketball justice there, he misses the free throw. Floater bounces in back the other way for Yurko, so he gets certainly not the last laugh, but the most recent one as MIT goes back in front by 1. That ought to be an offensive foul there, and it is against Welch. Got to be careful in these situations when the referees know they have to even up a big gap in fouls. They'll do it whenever they can. And Welch just walked right into the trap and took the cheese there. 8:08 to play in the half. Jomard rises a little too strong off the glass. Welch spins for the rebound. Outlet pass, a dangerous one, but fits it into Pattison, who nearly stepped out of bounds. Pattison needs some help, gets it. Welch fakes on the 3, goes to the dribble drive, kicks to Pattison at the wing. Babson getting some second unit minutes here. Coulihan can't get it to drop. Johnson was fighting for the rebound, but that time Jomard was able to save it in. So the Babson offense turned off right now, trying to defend their way through some minutes of rest for their starters. This is very dangerous territory right here for Babson. Big opportunity knocking for the Engineers at the moment. Yurko drives on Welch. Right-hander bounces in just past the reach of Bradley. Yurko piling up the points early. He's got 9. MIT lead is up to 3 at 26-23. Coulihan bluffs on the 3. Pattison will try it from straight on. A rainmaker. No good off the back rim. Beavers have got to get some scorers back on the floor. And Jaworski immediately comes over to the table. Jomard trying to strike while the iron's hot. Throws a bad pass. Tipped by Pattison. Tipped by Bradneys, I should say. Taken away by Pattison into the front court. Basket here would really help Babson as they get their starters back in. Johnson, the straight-on 3, bounces out. Pattison taps it, still loose. Coulihan chases it down. Fresh 30 for the Beavers as they'll get Offring in 2. Easy catch for Bradneys underneath. Defensive breakdown there by MIT, and Stephen Brennan will use a timeout here, his first of the night, to get his substitutions into the game. Absolutely clutch possession there by Babson. Not only do they cut the deficit to 1, but they use some precious clock while they get their starters some rest, and they'll use this timeout here to get that personnel group back into the game. 6:34 to go first half. Engineers 26, Beavers 25. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on BabsonAthletics.com. .6:34 to go first half. Babson with a clutch possession there and a clutch stop before that. Instead of being down 5 or 6 here, they're down only the 1. They get Frank Offring back into the game. They get Andrew Jaworski back into the game. So they've got a lot of legitimate offensive threats on the floor right now as they try to fight fire with fire tonight. Jomard kicks left for Forsythe. Over to Dakota Pierce. Pierce with 8 to shoot, gives to Jomard. He takes Johnson off the dribble. Not looking to the basket, makes the late spin, misses the shot a little short. Johnson the rebound. Beavers with a chance to regain the lead with under 6 minutes to play first half. Jaworski puts to the floor and gives to Welch. Welch returns. Coulihan between the circles, gives it off. Lob entry for Johnson. Johnson with 5. Backs in, slips the pass through. Oftring open for the backdoor 3. A little too much on that. Great idea there by Johnson as he threaded the needle. Beavers didn't hit that knockdown, and now MIT gets an opportunity to widen the lead. Beavers playing some very good defense against an elite scoring attack here in the first half. Roberts slides, falls away, no good, way too strong off the glass. Beavers with a chance at numbers in transition. Jaworski picks up his dribble, throws a terrible pass into the Babson bench. Jaworski stopped the ball, which the defense is supposed to force you to do in an open court run situation like that. So Jaworski really did them a pair of favors, took away any chance for a break to the basket. And then, of course, delivered them the gift of a turnover there into the Beaver bench. 5 minutes to go in the half. Excellent lob entry pass. Easy bucket inside for Dakota Pierce, his first points of the contest. And the Engineers widen it out to 3. Julian Alexis back into the game. Bounces one. That ought to have been a kick. And they call it out of bounds. Last touched by Dakota Pierce. Ulrichsen back in. Welch goes to the bench. So Babson has the lion's share of its starting 5. I believe all of its starting 5 now back on the floor, and they do. So an excellent job by the Babson bench to keep this thing close. Now we'll see if the starters can make some headway late in the half. Oftring with a catch, puts to the floor, draws 2 defenders, and scores anyway. Terrific take there by Frank Oftring. He's got 8. Beavers within 1 again at 28-27. Jomard, good entry pass down low for Roberts, who returns. Whistle away from the ball. They've got to get that foul count up on Babson somehow, so they'll do it here with 4:21 left to go in the half. First foul on Shai Ulrichsen. 3rd on the team. And so the Beavers have to remain on high alert, as they're probably 2 more fouls under where they ought to be right now. Entry pass got tipped, but Jomard had it under control. Chance for the backside 3. Pierce stayed off the trigger. Probably should have pulled it. Instead, he's blocked inside by Oftring. Ulrichsen races through traffic. Gives to Oftring. Beautiful cut to the basket. Thing of beauty. Chef's kiss and all. From Shai to Oftring. And the Beavers take the lead by 1 again at 29-28 with 3:53 to go. And Jomard quickly quiets the crowd with a quick answer. He's got 9. Alexis up top for Johnson. Johnson dribbles behind the back. Bounces it out for Alexis with 12 to shoot. Alexis through traffic, loses the handle, gets it back. Needs some help to that side, only 7 to shoot. Ulrichsen into traffic, throws it through. Chance for Jaworski, bluff, steps inside, takes the mid-range, misses it short, is tapped forward. And getting to it on the run on the way by is Dakota Pierce. MIT by 1 with 3:08 to go first half. Lob pass, a good entry. Roberts had position on Johnson, and he scores her easy. Tim Roberts with 4 first half points, and it remains a 1-possession game. 32-29, the MIT lead. Good entry pass caught by Jaworski. Waits for 2 defenders to take themselves out of the picture. Jaworski patiently picks up his first points of the game. His first field goal had a free throw earlier. He's got 3. 2:35 remaining in the half. Beavers down 1. Jomard swings it around the perimeter. Into the corner, backside, Forsythe 3, no good. Johnson goes up to get it. He sees some daylight and uses it. Gets through it quick into the front court. Entry batted away, refused from Oftring by Tim Roberts. Roberts getting a little winded. Alexis gives the foul. First foul on Julian. Fourth on Babson. And interestingly, it's Dakota Pierce that comes out of the game here. A.J. Yurko comes back in. Roberts looks like he's really winded right now for MIT, but he's going to remain out there. A quick little excuse-me three-pointer off balance by Cameron Korb, misses off the front rim. And the Beavers will get a chance to regain the lead as we come into the final 2 minutes of the first half. Babson usually so good in these situations, but a poor pass there by Jaworski, taken away by Roberts in front of Johnson. 1:48 to go. They enter it to Roberts, and he quickly sets his feet and scores. That's why he's still out there. MIT lead stands at 3, 34-31. This game's been played within one possession for most of the night. Alexis left alone for three, no good. Cameron Korb lost track of him for just a second, gave him the open look. Beavers have got to hit those in order to keep pace with this high-octane MIT offense. 1:08 to go in the half. Free throw line jumper bounces out, but an offensive rebound by Roberts. Yurko kicks out. Forsythe again left alone for three, too strong off the back rim. Alexis comes away with the rebound. Babson dodges a major bullet there that would have put them down by 6. Bradley's at the table looking to come back in. Jaworski doesn't have anywhere to go with an entry pass. Everyone's standing around the perimeter. 16 to shoot. Shoveled inside. Oftring slips in, scores, and a terrible foul given by Forsythe. Gives the and one opportunity to Frank Oftring to attempt to tie the game. Oftring now with an even dozen and has a chance to tie it up. So you think about potentially a 6-point swing here. You were at 34-31. Forsythe left wide open for a three. If he hits it, which he often will, that's a 6-point MIT lead. Instead, the miss. Now you give up this basket to the inside where, really they let Oftring sneak in. I commented at the beginning of that possession, everybody was camped out around the perimeter for Babson. They really let Oftring sneak in late. Not only did he score, but Forsythe gives the foul. So Forsythe really costing his team at both ends of the floor. It's a full 6-point swing as Oftring converts from the charity stripe, and it's a new game, 34-34 with 38 seconds left to go first half. Beavers one stop away from making sure they won't trail at the break. Now, it's a lot easier said than done. Yurko doesn't need a lot of room, finds it at the elbow and strokes it down. Yurko with 11. Babson would like to hold down here for the final shot, and it looks as though they will. 17 on the shot clock. Even down by 2, you'd call it a win for Babson, given just how well MIT plays on the offensive end, holding them to 36 when they average about 86 a game. Pretty good. Keeping them under 40, a small victory in itself. Alexis, a great cut to the basket. He scores just in front of the buzzer, and Babson has effectively shortened the game. They've turned a 40-minute game into a 20-minute game, and if you want to pull an upset, if that's what we're going to call this thing, that's a great way to start. Take half the game away, and then you only have to be better for 20 minutes, not 40. So we're set for another fun one here tonight between the Engineers and the Beavers as we're knotted 36 aside at the end of 20 minutes of play. Before tonight's game, I had a chance to catch up with Stephen Brennan, the head coach of the Babson Beavers. If you missed it, give you another listen to it now and join back up with second half action on the other side. You're watching Babson basketball on BabsonAthletics.com.
Joined now by Stephen Brennan, the head coach of the Babson men's basketball team, as they welcome in a very familiar foe in MIT here tonight, and in a place you haven't been in quite a while, and that's on a 3-game NUMAC losing streak. So things don't get any easier tonight as you're playing just an outstanding team that was an Elite 8 team a year ago, and the nucleus still in place of a group that actually beat your national championship team in the NUMAC title game. So as far as incoming opponents go, this is about as good as they get. You're extremely familiar with them. You've seen them over and over again over the course of their careers. So kind of tell us the story on this MIT team that comes in tonight, and what does it take to compete with a team of this caliber?
Yeah, I mean, MIT is certainly very talented, and like you said, this group with Bradley Jomard and A.J. Yurko and Tim Roberts and Pierce. Those seniors have been playing major roles since they walked on the campus, and they each present such a challenge in and of themselves. I forgot about Core because he didn't play in our last game. He just got his 1,000-point. I mean, there's at least 3,000-point scorers there, and they're all very, very good and very gifted. But I think that the biggest thing about MIT is just I think people get lost in their talent, and it's their toughness. I mean, they make toughness plays. They dive on the floor. They get 50-50 balls. They really work hard defensively and play hard, deny defense, and they're very physical. They're very aggressive with their physicality. So, you have to be able to meet their force. You have to be able to block them out on the defensive glass. And, in the last game, we led probably for 35 of the 40 minutes. So, I felt good about our effort. And I think, as much as they're ranked in the top 10 in the country, it's another NUMAC game, and all the NUMAC games are always a challenge. And, because we know each other so well and play each other, it seems like 3 times a year, every year, it's not a matter of secrets. It's just a matter of, you have to make simple pass shot decisions. You got to value the basketball. You got to be able to make more plays and less mistakes than they do. And, that's hard to do because they have 3 or 4 very gifted 3 shooters. They have great length on the wings. They have Roberts, who's averaging 4+ offensive rebounds a game and shooting 70%. And he's the recipient of all of those great passes from Jomard and Jerko, who both average close to 7 assists a game, which is, unheard of. So I think that, they're not one-dimensional. They can play different ways. They have different scoring options. So it's a multifaceted attack. And, ultimately you have to, really play an elite game in terms of, making good decisions, not having lots of turnovers. And then you can't get caught up in if they make a run. They're going to make a run because they score the ball so well. You have to be able to stay in the present and continue to do what you do well in order to, compete. And, last year, regular season, we split, and I think both games were overtime. We had one game already, and, we were up 3 with 11 seconds to go. Jerko hit a 3, and we got a great look at a 2, with 3 seconds to go, and we ended up losing in overtime. So, I think it should be another really competitive game, and hopefully we'll be on the left side instead of the right side.
And so that places real importance on what happens in the first half because, like you said, they score so well that it's going to be difficult to come back from a large deficit in the second half if you have one. And that was really, I think, the biggest thing that was off from the game Saturday against Coast Guard is, typically your games here at home, you're able to get into a groove scoring. You're usually well north of 30 in the first half. And we've also gotten very accustomed to seeing your team be very good in the final 2 minutes of the first half to try to, either maximize the lead or make sure you get a lead if it's up for grabs. We didn't really see that in the Coast Guard game, and that's why, you're playing from so far behind for so much of the second half. So what went wrong in that first half, and how does it have to go different tonight?
I think we took a lot of what I would just call, early shot clock, bad decisions. Like ultimately, poor shot selection creates invisible turnovers that fuels a team that likes to run. And, we took a lot of early shot clock threes, and they weren't going down. And we have to make that adjustment earlier and recognize that and, be able to play more inside out. But, I just thought we were a little bit selfish, and I think that, if 2 or 3 guys are shooting early shot clock threes, the ball is less likely to reverse because you don't know if you're getting it back. And I think the signature of this team has been we're focused on being great collectively. We don't have one terrific talent, but we are going to be greater than the sum of our individual parts. We're playing together on both sides of the ball. And so I think in the Coast Guard game, we didn't come out with a lot of energy. I thought they came out with good energy. We beat them down at their place, and they were looking to pay us back. And, in every one of the conference games, they all count the same. They're all big. If we were fortunate enough to win tonight, we're 1 game out of first place. Right now we're in the 4-5 game, if we're lucky, So we need to really have a great effort tonight. Hopefully we can find a way to win. But if not, the next game counts the same, and, you got to get ready for that. And, it comes down to, are you going to really be willing to pay the price in terms of preparation in order to, get the reward on game day?
And, a 3-game losing streak isn't the end of the world, but where they're all NUMAC games, it does hurt in the context that you're talking about. You have the benefit of a career's worth of context to put it in. You've seen it all. You've seen long winning streaks, long losing streaks, and everything in between. Your players don't have that luxury. They've only been at the NCAA level for at most 4 years. So how are you able to keep what's happening in perspective for them so that they aren't looking at it tonight as, well, we have to save our season tonight, that regardless of if it's win or lose tonight, you can still go after the goals that you set out for back in October?
Yeah, I think we really talk about winning. I mean, I think we certainly say, hey, look, all these games count the same. And, but if you get caught up in the results, I think that can really cause you to play emotionally and poorly. I think you want to play with emotion and confidence and poise. But when you play emotionally, usually that's a bad recipe for success. And I think that you don't panic. You just go back and you work at the fundamentals. You show them film of the good and the bad and ugly at some points, and then you try and have a positive outlook about what you need to do today, because ultimately that's all we have control over. And so tonight it's just about our energy and our effort, and the ball's got to go through the hoop a little bit to keep up with them. But hopefully we're not giving up easy shots either. I don't think the ball went through the hoop. I think that human nature in today's world is such that when guys aren't making shots, sometimes their defensive effort gets impacted in a negative way. And I thought that was all part of it on Saturday. And we were down because Coast Guard took advantage of our mistakes, and they deserved to be up. And they deserved to win. I mean, they led wire to wire, and I just thought they wanted it a lot more, and that was disappointing to see.
And I'm just curious, for your perspective as a coach of a winter sport in this part of the country, year in, year out, there's always different weather-related things that happen or threaten to happen. I'm walking in here to interview you. I'm getting alerts from the National Weather Service on my phone, and everybody seems to be in hysterics that it's going to be cold in January. There's a lot of things that are getting postponed or rescheduled. Something like that must happen to you just about every year, where you don't know if a game's going to get snowed out on a Saturday, or travel's not going to be viable for an out-of-town opponent. So how do you factor that into how you prepare your team when you've got a wild variable like that you have no control over?
Fortunately this year we haven't really missed many practices because of the elements. It's funny because in 2015 when we went to the Final Four, we had 2 straight Tuesdays, before a Wednesday game, that we couldn't practice.
If school's closed, you can't practice. Okay.
Yeah, and so, a situation where, we sent the workout to the players and sent them the scout report, and they kind of did it themselves. And, in some ways, you found out less was more, because, they reacted well, and it was actually good for them to have, maybe a less rigorous practice before the game, and probably save legs for the game on Saturday, So I think that, when I was growing up, it was always, you gotta grind, and no matter how many minutes you played last night, you gotta go put your 2 hours in, and and I think it's a situation now with advanced training and things that it's different, and some of these guys are in tip-top shape year-round because of the advances in physical training. I mean, we're fortunate we have a full-time strength coach in Joel St. Cyr, and he's got a full-time assistant and another part-time assistant and volunteers and interns. So, we're really lucky that we have professionals who help our guys year-round be in the best shape they can be. So, I think that it's one of those things where, we live in the Northeast. It's going to snow in January. It's going to be really cold when we all walk out of here tonight, and we're hoping that affects MIT shooting.
Well put. All right, we'll let you get down with your team. Best of luck out on the floor tonight.
All right, thanks so much.
Good. All right, welcome back to Stocky Gymnasium. Star-studded crowd here tonight, as I told you before. We've got several national champions in the house. I told you about Matt Droney coaching for MIT tonight. Told you Nick Cominal and Chris Lowry were here. Sam Bowmiller showed up. So both point guards in the house for this one. That's when you know it's a big game. 36-36 the score. As Jomard passes in this one, we'll see if there's a Bronx cheer that goes up for the backcourt violation. And MIT doesn't miss the opportunity to remind the officials that they missed on one of those in the first half. But that was an easy call, went off Hinckley's ankle before rolling into the backcourt. So Babson gets that immediate stop. And 13 seconds into the second half, it's all like they get the first possession in the second half, because now they get the chance to score and try to take the early second half lead. Babson executed beautifully in the final seconds of the first half with Julian Alexis scoring. Speak of the devil, he bounces one through. Jaworski with a chance to knock down three for the backside. And the Beavers are out of the box here in the second half as they get themselves a 3-point lead, which matches their largest margin of the night. Half dozen for Jaworski. And an and one back the other way. Count the basket, and Julian Alexis called for the foul, his second. So hope you enjoyed that Babson lead while it was here, because Bradley Jomard going to the line right now, trying to take it away immediately. He's got himself 11 on the night and make it 12. Gets a fortuitous bounce off the front rim, and we're knotted at 39. Can Babson play MIT-level offense in the second half? Ulrichsen goes up strong but can't finish. Got bothered on the way there. And MIT has a chance at his first second-half lead. Jomard spins. Right-hander is up and good. He's so very good at keeping his back to the basket until the last instant, and then turning and fronting just before letting the shot go. You've seen him try it several times tonight. That time he scored. Late decision to pass. Extra pass. Jaworski looking for another, and he's got it. Andrew Jaworski has all 6 second-half points for Babson on a pair of triples. And he's got the Beavers back in front by one at 42-41. Beautiful entry pass, easy finish for Forsyth. Forsyth with 10. 3 players into double digits for the Engineers already. Yurko with 11, Jomard with 14. And now Forsyth with 10. Off the dribble, Oftring got fouled. There were 2 players in the vicinity, both Forsyth and Roberts. We'll see which one draws the foul. It'll be on Roberts, and that's the third on Tim Roberts. That's something that could make a big difference in this game. High lob pass caught by Johnson. Johnson shovels, kicked around to the right side for Alexis. Alexis gives it up. Johnson to the dribble, and a flop there by Jomard. He gets credit for it as he draws the charge on Brandon Johnson. First foul on Brandon. Second foul of the half against Babson. MIT leads in that category for the first time tonight by a 2-1 margin. Jomard spins, right-hander, floats up and in. 16 in the game. Drop back for Alexis. Alexis to the dribble drive. Right-hander bounces no. He swats it away but can't secure the rebound, and somebody gave a foul. Either Alexis or Johnson. We'll find out together. It's the former. Third foul on Julian, and so he's in some early foul trouble. That prompts Stephen Brennan to get Matt Pattison into the game quickly, as you want to make sure you've got Julian Alexis available for late minutes here tonight. 17:48 to go in regulation. Beavers trailing by 3. For the most part, this game has been played within 3 points each way. MIT's had some brief leads of greater than 3, but they've been infrequent, and there's a foul called on Babson on the entry pass. It's almost like the officials talked about at halftime how little they called fouls against Babson in the first half, and were resolute to make sure it didn't happen again, because that's already number 4. Jaworski called for that one, and now it's just the reverse. Fouls 4-1 in MIT's direction. Just 2.5 minutes into the second half, so we might see a lot of free throws from the Engineers between now and the finish line. Hooked there by Roberts, no good. Offering the rebound, outlets to Pattison. Pattison into the front court. Spins, steps to the right. Drops back and hands to Jaworski. He's got all 6 Babson points in the second half. Johnson enters to Oftring. Oftring guarded pretty well, so he kicks up. Jaworski looking for another one. No. And narrowly avoiding the over-the-back foul was Oftring as he got a piece of that, but MIT comes away with the ball. Just over 3 minutes in. Jomard stripped, and they call the foul on Oftring. My, oh my, has this pendulum swung. Babson had a 5-1 foul spread in its favor in the first half. MIT has the 5-1 spread in its favor in the second half. And Stephen Brennan, as animated as you'll see him over in front of the Babson coach's box, really giving it to the officials and now walking out onto the court. I mean, I can't remember a Babson team ever getting called for 5 fouls in 3 minutes and 3 seconds unless they were trying to induce free throws. Hard to make that up. Johnson with a block. Ulrichsen taps the ball in his direction, but it goes out of bounds and it'll stay with MIT, and that gives Stephen Brennan an opportunity to give the business to the officials as they walk by to put the ball in from sideline out of bounds. They're going to give the ball to Babson here. Maybe Stephen Brennan wins that call. Surprise, surprise. Ulrichsen with one dribble kicks it up top. Johnson with a catch. Hands off for Jaworski. Somebody else has got to get involved for this Babson offense. Ulrichsen off to Oftring. Bounce entry down low. Oh, Oftring was open. Excuse me. Oftring is open now. Got fouled. Can't get the roll, but he'll get himself to the free throw line. Jaworski was open for a backdoor 3. They couldn't find him from inside. And so instead, Oftring will try to do it the hard way from the free throw line. The foul is on Forsythe. That's his 3rd. But it's just the 2nd of the half on MIT versus Babson's 5. It was humorous and kind of ironic when that last foul was called against Babson. You had a Babson parent yell, call it both ways. And the irony there, of course, the shoe was on exactly the other foot in the first half where the same disparity existed in fouls, and it was in Babson's favor. Of course, the Babson parents didn't have any problem with that. Oftring hits them both. He's got 15, and the Beavers come back to within 1. So Babson gets another player involved in the scoring, but they still just have 2 field goals in the opening 4 minutes of the second half, both on 3s by Jaworski. A lot of contact there, but no foul called on Oftring as Jomard came in off balance. Babson now trying to regain the lead. Pattison with Hinckley right in his face. We didn't see much of Hinckley because he picked up 2 fouls quickly in the first half. Pattison steps in. Jomard at his back to him. Pattison with a mid-range jumper, too strong. Mistake shot there as he really interrupted the offense to throw that up. Hinckley kicks up top for Yurko. Hinckley comes back to it, guarded by Ulrichsen. Roberts hands off. Hinckley out to the wing and now up top for Jomard. One of the longer MIT possessions of the game. They usually shoot quicker than this, and Jomard throws it into the front row. Beavers will take a rare mistake by the MIT offense. And a quick turnover that gets Babson the ball back with 15:24 to go in regulation. Ulrichsen has got Yurko right in his face. Tries to cross him over, doesn't have any room to breathe, and loses it out of bounds. Great contest there by A.J. Yurko. Really just baited Shy into the mistake that he eventually made. Engineers take the ball back with 15:10 to go in regulation, up by 1. Jomard, beautiful spin move, and the Parisian with the finish to pick up his 17th and 18th points of the game. No surprise here, he's your leading scorer tonight. Oftring had it poked away from him, and he was able to get it out of bounds off of Korb on the way out of bounds. So Babson fortunate to still have possession here, as they're in some trouble right now. They've scored only 8 points in the second half to this point. but only 6 of them have been from the field, and all 6 of those have come on 2 shots by Jaworski. And Stephen Brennan pulls the trigger on a 30-second timeout, not liking what he's seeing. 14:54 left to go in regulation. Your score, Engineers 47, Beavers 44. We'll take a break and come right back on BabsonAthletics.com. Welcome back to the Stocky Gymnasium. Babson down by 3, 47-44 with 14:50 to go in regulation. Good entry to Oftring, but he's unable to get the finish. And so MIT comes down the floor trying to widen its lead past 1 possession for the first time in a long time. MIT led by 4 back at 13-9. Since then, it's been a white-knuckle affair both ways. Stripped by Ulrichsen. Loose ball on the floor. Oftring dives for it. And you've got Oftring locking the ball into a figure 8. Possession arrow appears to belong to MIT, or no, it belongs to Babson. I got my sides of the floor a little crossed up there because Oftring wound up facing the wrong way. So Babson basketball with 14:22 to go in regulation. Final score already on the men's side. Coast Guard remains red hot as they beat Springfield in Springfield. My, how the mighty have fallen. The Pride in the Final Four a year ago, 7-13 this year. Coast Guard now 13-6. They pick up another huge NUMAC win. Pattison with a backside 3, and it's good. Matt Pattison checks in with his first triple. He's heating up, and we're knotted at 47. Lob entry to Jomard. He rises up to get it with his fingertips. Tries to make a move on Pattison. He does score it, and the foul on Pattison. Number 6 on Babson, and MIT will be in the bonus for almost 14 minutes to wrap the night. That's going to be very difficult for Babson to overcome, given the fact that MIT's been called for only 2 fouls so far. Jomard right down the middle. He's got 21. Not having to worry about playing against Joey Flannery any longer. He can really open it up these days. Bounce entry inside for Oftring. Strong to the hole for the finish. Oftring with 17. Beavers hanging in, down by 1 with 13:35 left in regulation. Zip pass to the far corner. Quick 3 ball by Hinckley. No good. Coulihan back into the game with a rebound. Ahead to Ulrichsen. Cross court. Jaworski bluffs on the 3. And what happened there? Touch foul down on the floor. So Babson looks like they'll have a baseline out of bounds. And that's a big step forward for Babson. Gets MIT up to the 3 foul threshold as Babson tries to play catch up there. Cameron Korb calling for the foul, his first. Senior from Los Gatos, California. Oftring nearly lost it, picked it up, cost him his dribble. So Ulrichsen will reset things. 14 left to shoot. He's trying to get it to Jaworski, couldn't do it. Oftring throws, bad pass stolen away as Dakota Pierce was laying in wait in the passing lane. Engineers trying to widen that lead now. Good pass inside. Easy finish for Roberts off the beautiful feed from Yurko. Roberts has 8. MIT's lead back up to 3. Babson's women's basketball team just arrived home from playing at Emerson earlier tonight. Babson could use the extra spectators. Down by 3 here. And a nail biter. Just 5 left to shoot. Does Coulihan know about it? He doesn't appear to. Gives off a pass. Pattison in front of the buzzer. Lets it fly and hits. Huge shot there by Matt Pattison. to not only spare the embarrassment of the 30-second violation, but to rain down a triple and tie the game. Now you got Frank Oftrink diving into the MIT bench trying to save a ball. And I've got to remind everybody, it's not March yet. It's still January. Beavers and Engineers, it just doesn't matter. 12:14 left to go in regulation, knotted at 52. Make sure your friends know this game's going on, please. Number 7 team in the country getting all it can handle from Babson here tonight. Roberts comes out, Hinckley back in. Bradley comes back on for Babson as Jaworski has a seat. Hinckley fakes on the handoff, pulls it back at the last second. Yurko is having trouble with Coulihan. Now gets a screen. Bradley switches to pick him up. No look pass. They make an extra pass. 2 extra passes. Jomard open. Corner 3. Thing of beauty. 24 for Bradley Jomard. And the MIT lead is 3 again, 55-52. Pattison up top for Coulihan, and we have a foul again on the floor, a touch foul on MIT as the officials try to even that up. 11:36 left to go. That foul is on Korb. It's his second, so he's gotten called for kind of both of those pity fouls that the officials have called to try to even things up. It was a 6-2 spread in fouls. Now it's 6-4. Still 2 fouls to give for MIT that Babson doesn't have with 11.5 to go. Ulrichsen, good move off the dribble, gets just enough space and tosses it up and in for his first points of the night. And the junior out of Topsom, Maine has the Beavers back within 1 at 55-54. Jomard off the dribble. Pretty. Sometimes his shots are so good you know they're going in while they're still in the air. That was one of those. And the lead stands at 3 for MIT. Bo Smith into the game for the first time for Babson, wearing number 15, a first year out of Germantown, New York. Played prep ball at Trinity Pauling. Pattison throws it right through the 5-hole between Bo Smith's knees and into the Babson bench. So again, this is Stephen Brennan trying to play a shell game. He tried to do that in the first half. And they're trying to limit Frank Oftrink's minutes due to some knee tendonitis that he's had. And those minutes have to come sometime. They're coming right now, and Babson's got to find a way to keep this game close with Frank Oftrink off the floor and the threat of his offense off the floor. Remember, Jaworski is out right now as well. Jomard comes in and scores. And this is high time for MIT to make some hay in this game. Now up by 5, their largest lead of the second half. Beavers need somebody unusual to create some offense. Pass gets deflected out of bounds. And how long can you afford to wait? Stephen Brennan says 0 more seconds. Brandon Johnson comes back in. Coulihan goes to the bench. You've got to have somebody in there who can keep Jomard honest. You can't let him keep stepping inside the smiley face time after time and scoring those easy baskets like he's been doing. You can't beat MIT that way. Smith steps inside, throws out Pattison, and it's going to be an offensive foul called against Babson. Stepping in and taking the harm was Dan Pillsbury, the first year out of Millington, New Jersey. Foul number 7 against Babson. It's offensive, so there's no free throws, but the Beavers turn it over. Bo Smith called for that foul. That's a one-way ticket to the bench. He's out. Jaworski's back in. So the Beavers tried to get some minutes from the Burn squad there, couldn't do it. And they've got the offensive guns back out there in Jaworski and Johnson. They're probably going to have to go the distance if Babson's going to have a chance to pull the upset tonight against the number 7 team in the country. Jomard races forward on Bradley's. No, bounces out. Big break there for Babson as Shy chases it down, throws ahead. Jomard tips it into the hands of Pillsbury. And MIT takes it right back. Engineer bench getting awfully lively. They can smell blood in the water right now. Babson very vulnerable, and free throws coming as there's a foul away from the ball on Colin Bradley's. Rookie mistake there. You can't get your arms locked up when the team's in the bonus, especially when you're playing against a team that can shoot some free throws. Cameron Korb at the free throw line. Korb, a 61% free throw shooter, 14 for 23 on the year. Front end of a 1-and-1 is good. Korb's first point of the night. MIT with its largest lead of the half at 60-54. 7 points if it gets to 7 doesn't sound like a lot. But the reality is MIT is going to score a lot more points in this game. You got to figure with 9 minutes left, 9 and change, they're going to score at least 15 more points in this game. So that means you've really got to turn it up on the offensive end to come back from down 7, because you've got to score at least 22 just to force an overtime in this thing tonight, in my humble opinion. So write that down. I'm saying you got to get to 76 to have a shot now. Pattison misses from 3. Rebound chased down by Yurko. That doesn't help. MIT with a chance to really flex his muscle. Stephen Brennan again hitting the panic button, getting Julian Alexis back in there. He wanted to sit him longer with the 3 fouls, but he understands the game is in serious danger right now. Jomard kicks it up top. He drew 2 defenders. Somebody was open somewhere, but it was Dakota Pierce on the backside of the play. They didn't get it to him. Fall away by Yurko, no good. Ulrichsen not only grabs the rebound, but gets going on the run. Beavers could use something quick in transition if it was open, but nothing's open right now. Pattison spins. Picked up his dribble, needs some help, and gets it from Jaworski. 17 to shoot. Toss cross court for Ulrichsen. Dumps it in for Johnson. Johnson bounces it through to Bradnees, who rises, kicks it back over. Ulrichsen with a catch to the dribble drive. No look pass for Johnson. He steps back into the left-handed 3. No good off the front rim. Jomard the rebound. Clock becoming an issue. Babson down 7 with 8:13 to go. Jomard rises, can't score, but gets fouled and will go to the free throw line. And MIT looks to take its largest lead of the game as they inch closer to the double bonus. And really, Stephen Brennan says enough's enough. He's going to get his starters back out there with 8:11 to go. Consequences be darned, as the foul was called on Matt Pattison. It's his 3rd. And as Dan Patrick would say, you can't stop Bradley Jomard. You can only hope to contain him. Babson has done neither here tonight, as he's got 29 points with 8:11 remaining in the contest. Make it 30. 63-54, the MIT lead, their largest of the second half. And if Babson is going to mount a last stand, it's got to start right about now. Ulrichsen gets fouled and will get himself to the line. They call the foul on Yurko, his 3rd. Important on the 2 levels, gives you a chance to score with the clock stopped. It's also a key 5th foul on MIT. So they're down to just 1 left to give. Beavers have got to get themselves into the bonus to have any chance at all here tonight. Shy a 64% free throw shooter on the year, 27 for 42 on the campaign. First free throw misses short. And the second misses short as well. Jomard comes away with a rebound. The window is closing on Babson right now with 7:55 left to go. It's been fun for a while. MIT flexing its muscle and its depth here in the second half. Jomard dominant. Offstring tried to draw an offensive foul there. They didn't blow the whistle. So Jomard now with 32, having a National Player of the Week type of a game tonight. And the MIT lead stands at 11. Foul called on Jomard on the floor. That's the last MIT foul to give. And so Babson is in the bonus, and they had better make good use of it the rest of the way. 7:28 remaining. Babson, if they can extend the game from the free throw line and pick up some points there, they might be able to make this thing interesting again. Offstring got bothered on his way to the ball, but it was off his hands, thrown by Johnson and out of play. So Babson achieved something it needed to achieve. They get that 6th foul out of the way, but they don't score any points. And that's going to give MIT an opportunity to make this a 5-possession game. Jomard's been the best player on the floor tonight. That's been the case many times over his career, but he's rarely on this court exerted the kind of dominance over a game that he's showing you tonight. He waited his turn. He watched Joey Flannery do it for 2 years. Now he's turned it around. As he fires that one out of bounds, he zigged, Korb zagged, and the ball goes out of play. Timeout on the floor. It's a full timeout, so we'll tell you that 2019 marks Babson's centennial and 100 years of revolutionizing business education. Babson Athletics joins the college in honoring our past, celebrating the present, and offering inspiration for our next century. Highlighting 2019 will be the opening of the state-of-the-art Babson Recreation and Athletics Complex, a centennial golf tournament, and a celebration of the history of Babson Athletics. For more information, visit centennial.babson.edu. We'll be right back on BabsonAthletics.com. In the battle for Worcester, WPI looks like they'll hold home court. They lead Clark 51-42 with 9:54 to go in that one. Also, halftime score, Wheaton leading on the road at Emerson 34-30. Here in this one, MIT has opened up an 11-point second half lead, their largest of the game. Babson in serious danger now, needing to make the most of every touch of the ball they've got left. Offstring gets it over to Johnson. Jaworski puts to the floor. Babson with his starting 5 on with 6:45 to go. Alexis inside the elbow shoots that one a mile high, not even close. And MIT might just have to play defense the rest of the way to win this one. Babson 36 points in the first half, only 18 points in almost 14 minutes. Jomard takes the pretty entry from Yurko and finishes with a slam. A masterpiece of a performance by number 5 here this evening. He's got 34 with no end in sight with 6:13 to play. Johnson with a burst of speed, stops, picks it up, and gives back to Offstring. Beavers need points in bunches. Offstring, a lot of pivot. Doesn't make the basket. Alexis gets fouled on the way back up, and the clock stops with 5:57 to play. Fouls on Jomard, it's his second. Foul number 7 on MIT. Whatever chance Babson has remaining tonight depends entirely on taking advantage on each and every opportunity they get from the free throw line. Alexis makes his first of 2, 81% on the year coming into tonight is Julian. And he's into double digits with 10. Frank Offstring, the team leader, with 17, but Bradley Jomard has him doubled up with 34. Julian makes both, so that keeps Babson in the conversation. He comes out of the game. Coulihan comes in. Now, Coulihan's a guy that can hit a 3. And that's what Babson needs right now. Jaworski can hit a 3. Johnson can do it. We've seen Offstring do it before, too, and Welch as well. So you certainly have the potential for perimeter shooting for Babson, but they've got to get stops as well. And, of course, the Engineers, adept mathematicians that they all are over there, will use their shot clock now that they've got themselves the fat lead. Long 2, good, beautiful shot there by Yurko. He knocks that one down. He's got a baker's dozen on the night. And the MIT lead is also 13. Welch stops, leaves it back for Johnson. Johnson stops, good inside dish for Coulihan, who had trouble on the catch, tipped out of bounds, last touch by MIT's Dakota Pierce. 15 seconds to shoot. And I told you all the way back at 8 minutes that the clock was becoming an issue for Babson. This is why. You can't have any kind of offensive struggle against MIT while you're trailing, because they'll just choke the life out of the game like they've done here tonight. Entry goes off Johnson's hand. He's able to recover in front of his bench. Puts to the floor on the dribble and gives up for Coulihan. Stolen away by guess who? Bradley Jomard. MIT with a 13-point lead plus the ball coming into the final 5 minutes. Ball swung to the corner. Back to the right side. Yurko up top, puts to the floor on Johnson. Takes him off the dribble, switches to the right hand, scores. Good night. 15 for Yurko. The MIT lead is 15 with 4:35 to play. Beavers just didn't have enough bullets in the chamber tonight, but Welch tries to extend things as he makes a triple right there, and Stephen Brennan will use a full timeout. Beavers down 12 with 4:31 to go. For the latest news and information on Babson Athletics and your favorite Babson sports team, visit babsonathletics.com and follow the Beavers on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Babson Athletics. We'll step aside and come right back. You're watching Babson basketball on babsonathletics.com. Welcome back to Stockey Gymnasium. 4.5 minutes to go. Babson down by a bundle, 71-59. James Welch just hit a three prior to that last timeout, so that's keeping Babson on an iron lung here. But Jomard dominating this game missed that one, so Babson looking to see if they can make it interesting again. 4:13 to go. They've got to play at a much accelerated pace on the offensive end. Welch dribbles out of traffic, finds Coulihan. Swings through, Johnson's open, Beavers need it, and they get it! Back-to-back threes for Babson, and they have erased 40% of the deficit in 2 possessions. They've taken a 15-point deficit down to 9 with 3:48 to go. And maybe we're not finished just yet after all. Jomard off the dribble, spins, shoots, can't go in! Bounces out. Big break there for Babson. They've got a chance to make it a 2-possession game. Jaworski bluffs on the 3, steps in traffic, scores off the window. An 8-0 run for Babson, and they've cut the deficit in half from 15 all the way down to 7. Can they get another stop? Kick out to the wing. Wide open 3. Good for Dan Pillsbury. And the first year out of Millington, New Jersey, has made 2 impact plays in this game. He took a charge, and he made that 3. Only 2 times we've called his name all night, but boy, have they been big. Foul back the other way is going to put Welch at the line with 3:02 to go. Big shot there to silence the Babson crowd. MIT using a timeout there. That'll be a full, so we'll tell you that Babson Athletics is pleased to offer the college's first official online store featuring Babson Spirit products. Head over to shopbabson.com to purchase merchandise representing Babson Athletics or your favorite Babson sports team. With more than 1,500 items to choose from, now is the perfect time to visit shopbabson.com. 3:02 to go in regulation. Your score, MIT 74, Babson 64. We'll be right back on babsonathletics.com. 3:02 to go. Babson caught lightning in a bottle there for a minute, went on a quick 8-0 run, took it from down 15 to down 7. But then Pillsbury hit the 3 back the other way. Now James Welch at the line, shooting 2 key free throws and a 1-on-1. He misses the front end, and that might close the door. Beavers had some momentum cascading there, but the wave crashed at just 8 points as MIT got the answer, and then they got the stop. We've got a whistle, and what do we have here? Looks like it's an offensive foul on Bradley Jomard, so he picks up a 3rd. And the Beavers will get one last chance at this now with 2:49 remaining, down by 10. They've got to play absolutely perfect. Remember, I told you a few minutes ago they were going to need to score a minimum of 76 to force an overtime in this game. And I stand by that. Lob entry for Oftring. Oftring goes up, gets 2. Beavers now need a stop, down by 8 again. This is the closest they've been since MIT got it up to 15. 2:24 to go. MIT might be just one basket away from scooting back to Cambridge with a NUMAC win and a sweep of the regular season series. Jomard off the dribble, pushes forward, now pivots back. Yurko floats and knocks it down. They use most of the 30 seconds and score the bucket. 2 minutes left, 10-point MIT lead, but just when you thought it was over, they give a foul early in the shot clock, and they leave that back door open ever the slightest bit. Korb gives the foul, and Welch goes back to the free throw line, again shooting a 1-on-1. He just missed a front end. Was a 90% free throw shooter coming into the night, 9 for 10. Alexis in, Johnson to the bench. So you've got to be able to score with the clock stopped when you're down by this many. Palindrome on the scoreboard, 76-67 with 1:58 to play, and that second one does sit down for Welch. So we'll see what the Beavers do here. They show some backcourt pressure. They don't want Jomard at the free throw line. So they toss it around. Beavers need to foul if they're going to continue to compete here. Looks like they want to play for the stop. It's going to cost them a lot of time to get it. 1:42 to go. Jomard steps inside. Passes out. Korb's looking for the dagger, and he's got it. Good night. Cameron Korb picks a heck of a time for his first three-pointer of the night. Babson elected not to foul. They tried to defend for the stop. They lost a lot of time. They allowed the 3 points. And MIT going to get out of here with its 18th victory of the season. As Oftring stripped to the ball, it goes out of bounds. For Babson, it's going to be their 4th consecutive NUMAC loss. It's going to knock them down to 5-4 in NUMAC play. And the way that Coast Guard is surging right now, there's no guarantees that the postseason is in the cards here for Babson this year. Beavers will keep the ball as it's knocked out of bounds by Pillsbury. But we told you, Coast Guard already beat Springfield tonight, so Coast Guard is going to be just 1 game back of Babson. And Emerson was also in action tonight as they were taking on Wheaton. If they win that game, Beavers could be looking at 4-5 game right in the face as the ball's blocked out of play. Compounding things for the Beavers is their next 3 games are all on the road, at Clark, at WPI, and at Wheaton on the 2nd, 6th, and 9th of February, respectively. Welch misses the 3, but the Engineers lose the rebound out of bounds. 1:05 left. Babson's still with the ball. Beavers come home for their final 2 regular season games against Emerson and Springfield on the 13th and 16th of February. Follow-away jumper by Jaworski, no good. Jomard secures the rebound. Babson elected not to foul before. They'll do the same thing here, but for all different reasons, or actually they will give the foul, as Oftring will give it with 51.8 seconds left to go. And for MIT, it just shows you how much they've solidified as a team from the group that was here 2 years ago. Remember, they won on this floor to win the NUMAC championship in 2017. They were one of only 2 teams to beat Babson, as Babson got MIT with that killer buzzer beater by Nick Cominal, the Stone Cold Assassin, who's sitting in the front row here tonight, to win 70-67 and finish off an undefeated regular season in the NUMAC. MIT returned the favor, winning 67-62 8 days later in the NEWMAC championship game to a team that in Babson that went on to win the eventual national championship. So you knew that MIT had the potential to do something special, and that's what they're now doing this year. Coulihan makes the three, and Babson will call timeout to try to extend the game. 81-71 with 42.3 seconds left to go. We'll take one last timeout and come back to wrap things up from Babson. 81-71. The Engineers lead it on BabsonAthletics.com. Bo Smith back in for Babson with 42.3 seconds left to go. Babson fouled on the last possession. They called a timeout off of that made basket. So Stephen Brennan coaching it as though it were still a winnable game. You can't blame him. These games are also valuable in conference. You might as well do your due diligence. But MIT just too good of a team to allow that sort of a thing to happen in 38.8 seconds as the foul is going to create a free throw shooting situation here for Dakota Pierce. With 38.8 seconds to play, both teams have long since been in the double bonus. Pierce, just a 55% free throw shooter, came in 11 for 20. Makes that one with some help from the rim. Oftring comes back into the game on an offense-defense switch. It's a shame if this game were 5 points closer. This could be a lot of fun to the end, but it's not, and it won't be. So MIT left on the doorstep of a Final Four appearance last year. Of course, they did that just a few years back in 2011. Looking to try to do it again here in 2019 with arguably a more talented group, certainly a more cohesive group, as this team, this group of starters, has been playing together now for 4 years. And they are battle-tested. And they have won some big battles, including some in this gym. Welch gives the foul. And it'll put Jomard to the line, shooting 2 with 29.2 seconds left to go. Jomard's had a monster night. Really the only suspense remaining is whether or not he'll score 40. Short arms that free throw. Teddy Sorless comes into the game, a first-year guard out of Rumson, New Jersey, and Rumson Fairhaven. Alexis and Oftring come out of the game. Bradney's back in for Babson. The second is good. So a 37-point night for Bradley Jomard, showing you why he is an All-American type player. Welch pulls up for a three, knocks it down. A couple of nice looking threes by Welch late in the game. 10-point game again at 84-74. And Sorless gives the foul with 21.6 seconds left to go. And given the substitutions that Stephen Brennan was making, he was probably looking for just one missed shot to give up the ghost. But Welch hits the three. You've got to respect that. And the math says you keep fouling in a 10-point game because stranger things have happened. Free throws back the other way for Korb. Makes the first. Korb hit the three that really took any remaining doubt out of this one about a minute ago in game time. And wouldn't you know, MIT winding up right around that 86 number that they've been averaging this year. They came into tonight averaging 85.6 per game. They exceed that average with point number 86. Coulihan puts up a three, and that goes. If the Beavers had scored the ball this well earlier in the second half, it might have been a whole different story here tonight. As they're tossing them through late, and Babson fouls again with 12.6 seconds to go. If you're gaining points on these exchanges, you kind of have to keep doing it for as long as there's clock to do so, right? So Larry Anderson starting to empty out his bench, trying to send a hint over to the Babson side. He's going to make a 5-for-5 substitution as Jomard again misses the first of 2 free throws. So Babson theoretically could get 2 or 3 points closer with another make with 12.6 seconds left to go. As MIT sits everybody except Jomard with 12.6 to go. He makes the second of 2, and he finishes a 38-point night. Takes a quick glance at the scoreboard that he'll pretend he didn't take to know what he finished with before he leaves the floor. 87-77 the score with 12.6 left. Jaworski handles the inbound. He'll race forward. He's got to let one fly, but he passes instead. Sorless will let one fly, and that one misses. So at long last, the final seconds will expire. Bradney's, dude. Colin Bradney's gives a foul with half a second left in a 10-point game. That's all over but the shouting, so MIT will get a chance at 2 more here. As he really committed the foul on 3 different occasions, so you couldn't not call it if the buzzer wasn't going to sound first. Dorian Bryant and Stephen Brennan both putting their jackets back on simultaneously. This game's been over for a while, just the clock hasn't cooperated. Engineers continue to salt it away from the stripe. Francis McCann, a junior out of Guadalajara, Mexico, just got on the floor and makes 1 of 2 free throws to round out the night. So MIT tested tonight by Babson, but when it mattered, when the depth was tested here in the second half, MIT's bench was far ahead of Babson's, and that made the difference here tonight as they were able to build the big lead and hang on to it. Beavers made a run, got it from down 15 to down 7, but they just weren't able to sustain it. And MIT did just enough shooting and just enough from the free throw line to make sure this never got all that interesting in the final minutes. So your score here tonight, MIT 88, Babson 77. MIT with the victory. Number 7 in the country. They add another good win. They remain in first place in the NEWMAC. They're now 18-2 overall. They're 8-1 in NEWMAC play. For Babson, they fall to 12-8 on the season, 5-4 in NEWMAC play. We've got another national champ in the house tonight, and Brian Kelly. Just want to make sure we check all those boxes here this evening, but that will do it for us here tonight as MIT gets an impressive win. They've got a bright future ahead of them. The sky's the limit for the MIT Engineers here in 2018. Babson going to have to regroup and see what they can do about maximizing what's left of their season. They've lost 4 in a row. They've got 5 left. Will they be in the NEWMAC tournament? Will they play at home in the NEWMAC tournament? Will they avoid the first round? Will they be able to advance? Is the postseason in the cards for them in 2019? Those are all big question marks as we flip the calendar into the month of February. The next Beaver game will be on Groundhog Day at Clark at 1 p.m. Our next broadcast will be on February the 13th as the Beavers will welcome in Emerson at 7 p.m. We'll talk to you then. In the meantime, this is John Cabral saying thanks so much for watching, and on behalf